What's up, y'all? It's your boy Sean P back again with another edition of Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. I'm back with my homie Ansem BLG, aka Bootleg Gang. Welcome again, Ansem. What's up?
What's going on, man? You were struggling saying that name when Maurice was here last
Yeah,
time.
it's a long
BLG.
name, man.
Let me
It was a B.
see.
I just want to make sure I get it right. The one thing
Nah,
you
you
don't want to
good.
do is say the wrong name. So it's
I
like, let me
know,
get it
right?
right.
But yeah, Ansem, BLG, aka Bootleg Gang on YouTube. Also, Facebook group BLG, aka Bootleg Gang. What's up?
All right. So tonight, Anson, we're gonna get back into part two of our East Coast versus South debate. You know,
Okay.
really East Coast fans versus Southern hip hop fans. So first, with Reese, we talked about just the overall feelings, of East Coast versus South. Some of the artists and the styles, lyrics versus vibe to see
Okay.
what were the differences were. So tonight we're gonna get into what we kind of delved into with our "It Was Written in 400 Degrees" debate. We're
Okay.
gonna talk about the albums, and tonight I want to talk a little bit about, you know, how do Southern hip hop fans look at like a Ready to Die or a Blueprint or Illmatic? Did they give those albums respect the way they'd give a Little Wayne classic like a Carter 3 or even an Outkast Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music? Do they look at them the same way, or is it a thing where they're automatically just going to put their Southern classics over, the East Coast classics that a DMX or Jay-Z or even a 50 Cent would have? Or are there some East Coast albums that really stand out among Southern hip hop fans, would you say?
Hmm. I hate to say it depends because
Yeah.
there really is no general answer. It really depends on the age range of the person that you are asking
Uh-huh.
and if they are a hip hop music fan or if they're just a down south music fan.
Okay.
Now, the average down south music fan, and let me state this that I was born in DC, but I was raised in Indianapolis, Virginia, North Carolina, Georgia, even lived
Cool.
in Massachusetts, but the majority of my life I lived in North Carolina and Virginia.
Okay.
The average Southern hip hop music fan
Mm.
may tell you no.
All
And
right.
the reason why is because one thing that you said that I agree with, the vibe plays a very big factor down here.
Okay.
It's not necessarily what you say, but how you
You
say it.
say it. Yup.
And if you say it in a way that attracts someone and the people around them,
Mm-hmm.
then the answer would be yes. Now, name some of the albums that you mentioned.
Southern Playalistic Cadillac Funky Music.
Of course, but let's talk about the East Coast albums.
Okay. Let's go to Ready to Die.
Ready to Die. Ready to Die was big everywhere. And keep in mind, that's a 90s album.
Yeah.
Now, from a 90s hip hop fan, the down south fan may tell you yes.
Mm-hmm.
But the 2000, 2010, 2020 era,
Mm-hmm.
you may hear no because of three words: the pause era.
Okay.
And you know the pause era love to reach on anything that sounds suspect. And you know Biggie had that line on Me and My Bitch.
So all right. Are we really gonna, off of one line, we're gonna throw out a whole classic work of hip hop?
You know it was more than one line. Niggas get the
Okay.
dope in, they get the straight
Yeah.
up back. You know that.
I hear you. I hear you.
But yeah, but like it's probably someone my age would appreciate it a lot more than someone younger than me, just
Yeah.
because it was on it gave a boom bap sound. A
True.
lot of one thing I've heard in Atlanta,
Yeah.
especially at me myself as an underground hip hop artist, or used to be an underground hip hop artist,
Yeah.
we don't want to hear them Yankee beats. I've heard that a lot in Georgia and Florida.
Okay.
We don't want to hear them Yankee beats. So anything that reminds you of that classic boom bap sound, they're gonna automatically disregard it and call it that's that old hip hop. No one's dancing to that. No bitches twerk to that. We need something more up tempo.
Hold that thought. We're gonna talk about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
That's an important point. I like that point. That's very important there. But even all right, let's go to let's speed it up. Let's go a little bit later. Some of the J classics, like Hard Not Life Volume 2, Blueprint, like that's 2000s now. You know what I mean? How about Get Rich or Die Trying? Because we talked about 50 a lot in our last podcast on the South and the East Coast. How about those albums where the production was a little bit different?
The reason why Get Rich or Die Trying hit not just in the South but everywhere was because one, he had Dr. Dre, one of the greatest producers ever. Also, he had a versatile sound. He gave you up north sounds. He gave you down south sounds. He gave you West Coast sounds.
Yes.
He gave you Midwest sounds. And because he got shot, it slurred his voice.
Yeah.
And that slur attracted down south people more than up north. So some people was like, oh, he's trying to sound like he's down south. I don't even think he was trying to sound like he was down south just because he got shot. But he did say that girl think I'm country, but I'm from New York. Now, you mentioned Jay-Z albums.
Yeah.
In my era, yes, they appreciated it.
Okay.
Seems like the younger eras didn't appreciate Jay-Z like that. Not necessarily because of the music, but more because of what was going on outside of the music, especially with the controversy between Dame Dash and Jay-Z. It seems like Jay-Z, I don't know, it just seems like there's a lot of biasness when it comes to Jay-Z, when it comes to certain hip-hop, down south hip-hop fans, even though T.I. called himself the down south Jay-Z.
Yeah.
But a lot of people probably my age appreciated Jay-Z more just because of his content, not necessarily because of his music, because what he was talking about. He was on that hustle shit.
But I'm interested in that though. Like, I don't understand why the younger, and let's preface by say what, like 30 and under, maybe for Jay-Z about that. Like why would they have a feeling towards Jay-Z? Because Jay-Z to me, I've always seen as the universal greatest of all time. Like, of course, like me, I'm a Nas head, so I'm gonna say Nas is my GOAT, you know what I mean? But of course, people are gonna say Lil Wayne is in the conversation, you know, Biggie, Tupac, whatever. But like, I don't understand, and I've noticed this about Jay-Z. Back to the artists discussion that we've had. Like, I've seen people, like, literally, this is kind of how this podcast came about. When somebody said that Reasonable Doubt was trash, you know, and another one was saying, I think, what was it? Volume 2 was over. Like, I've seen Southern hip hop fans say Volume 2 is overrated. Black Album was boring. Like, I don't get that.
You know what's hilarious? A lot of down south fans, from my experience, actually appreciated Volume 1.
Yeah, I like Volume 1.
That's an
underrated album. Oh my god.
More than Reasonable Doubt, because Volume 1 had more of a commercial feel and they had songs you could play in the club.
That's true. That's true. That's true. Well, it gets back to what we were talking about, the vibe, you know.
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z, I would say Volume 1 had more of a radio vibe to it. You know, it had radio records on there. You know what I mean? More sample records. I know it's funny because you're from North Carolina. I had a friend, true story, like going back to high school. He was from Durham, North Carolina. And every time we got in the car, this is like we're like 16, 17 years old. We just started driving, right? And the first thing he said, this is when volume one came out, and I would take the car out. He's like, yo, you got to put on that Who You With, man. Remember Who You With, Jay-Z?
Produced by Ski Beats, who's from North Carolina.
Yeah, he loved that song, man. We played that over and over again. Like, and because a couple of my buddies was from down south that time. My boy was from Durham. Another one of my buddies was from Jacksonville back in high school. And that's all we would rock to was volume one. You know?
I will tell you this, though,
Yeah.
before you go any further. Raleigh Durham actually appreciates hip hop as a whole a lot more than Charlotte do.
Yeah.
Like Charlotte, you gotta sound like you have to for some reason sound like you're from Atlanta or at least relate to Atlanta.
True.
Whereas Raleigh Durham listened to everything. I've noticed that when I went to college in North Carolina, A&T Greensboro.
Yeah.
But you can continue.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Like, so yeah, but I have seen like a lot of the J bias of late. Like, I don't know if it is a Dame Dash thing, but I don't know if like younger hip hop fans really know the history of how, you know, Dame Dash was really a punk. You know what I mean? Dame Dash did a lot of underhanded things to break up the rock, but they see what's out on media now. And they think, oh, well, because I'll give Dame credit on one thing. He's playing one good media campaign against Jay-Z and knows how to play against what Jay-Z is today. You know what I mean? But, yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I think part of it, too, is Jay-Z. This is one factor, I think. I think the younger generation is more about what music are you putting out. You know what I mean? Like and the music doesn't even have to be classic material, but if you're putting out a high volume of music and you got a couple of hits sprinkled in, they ride with you. But like Jay-Z's coming from an era where he puts out an album every, 2 to 3 years, maybe a single here and there, maybe do some features, but he's not as active. The less active you are, the worse it is with younger hip hop fans, I think. And Jay-Z really hasn't been active. I mean, geez, really active since like the mid 2010s.
When he put out the Carter's album, if I'm not mistaken, that's the last album he put out.
Yeah,
the Carter's album with Beyonce.
The Carter's album, and right before that was
444.
That was 444,
which to me was one of his best albums.
Oh yeah, 444 is classic, bro. That's up there. That's up there. That's one of my favorite Jay albums. I mean, but it was a mature album.
But one thing I'll tell you for sure, when it came to the South, the songs that really hit by Jay-Z, Can I Get a?
Oh yeah, there you go.
Nigga What Nigga Who? Nigga What Jigga Who? Just because it had that, because Timbaland produced it.
Yep.
Big Pimpin'.
What about Money Cash Hoes though?
Oh yeah, because DMX, of course.
Yeah, Money Cash Hoes, yep.
Yeah. But as far as like those three songs, anyone that liked those three songs may have been introduced to Jay-Z and decided whether they like Jay-Z style or not by listening to the music.
True. Same thing around that time. Darkest Hell is Hot. We talked about this in our first podcast we did.
Now DMX is loved down south. You know why?
Okay. Yeah. Why's that?
Beats.
Swizz.
Because he brought that sound. He took elements from the West and the South and brought it to New York. It's almost like he made a New York version of a West Coast beat or a New York version of a down south beat before he did the sampling, and he was strictly Casio keyboards, even though I wasn't a fan of that shit. The reason why I love DMX's first album is because Swizz Beatz only produced one song. Dame Grease and others produced the majority of that album. But on the second album, Swizz Beatz did a lot more production. So it kind of sounded more radio friendly, but the lyricism was still there.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna draw a parallel to a down south artist, to make a down south parallel album wise and artist wise in a minute. But back to your Swizz Beatz point, it's really interesting you say that because up in the New York, I say tri-state area, most of the fans think that Swizz Beatz is one of the most overrated producers of all time.
And I can see why.
They hate on him like nobody's been. I'm like, how is he not top 10? You know
Because
what I
when he
mean?
first came out, he depended on those Casio keyboards.
But
And where you are, they're more sample friendly.
And the thing about it is, that sound at that time sounded nothing like what was out there at that time. Everybody was sample, 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 radio loop from the Diddy era. You know what I mean? Not to bring up Diddy, but but anyway, from the Bad Boy era. But anyway, so it's like up here, Swizz doesn't get his respect, and I'm like, he's got to be easily top 10, maybe top 7 all time because of the anthems that he put out, the bangers that he put out, rock in the club today, 25 years, 30 years later.
And like I said, it adapted more outside of New York than New York did.
Yeah.
Remember there was a time in the 90s where West Side Connection Bow Down was like the biggest album in the US, but no one from the Northeast was talking about that album.
That's facts. That's facts. It was the #1 album. That's true.
And that's how certain artists are viewed, like the big legends that New York and East Coast fans see. Everywhere else was like, oh, he's overrated. And not because of skills, but because they just didn't like the type of style they were doing.
I put it to you like
DMX was adaptable. That's why DMX had so many platinum albums, was because he wasn't just making New York music. He was rapping New York rap, but he was rapping New York rap on all type of styles, and it fit. Sort of like someone mentioned this about Biggie. They said Biggie can rap on any type of beat, and it never sounded like he sold out. He stuck to himself. That's DMX. That's true. DMX will rap on any type of beat. He did a Christian rap song and still kept the DMX.
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying? And it's hype. So down south,
he was one
hype
of the,
shit.
He was one of the best, man. I'll tell you what, like a parallel before I get to because a parallel with DMX is like the first time I heard Jeezy. Like when I heard Young Jeezy and I heard those beats, I heard TM 101, and even though he wasn't lyrical, he was saying some shit. He was saying some real street shit, and the energy off of it reminded me of DMX. And I was like, first time I heard TM 101, I'm like, this guy's gonna be a legend. Like nobody's making this kind of music this way at that time. And when that blew, and then he came with Inspiration, and then he came with Recession and all that, and became a superstar, like that's really that time, the mid 2000s, when Wayne kind of blew up, and Ross and those guys at that time. But it's interesting that you said vibe, because I think after 50 Cent, I think that hip hop became more about vibe and energy more than pure lyrical style. And off of that wave, that's how the South blew up, because in New York, Jeezy was big, bro. Jeezy was big, Wayne was big, T.I. was big. I went to Summer Jam where they all performed, and they all came out in droves to see Wayne, T.I., Jeezy, packed Giant Stadium. So if anything, like the one thing I'll say about East Coast fans is they've adapted over the years to be not just about, lyrical hip hop, to where it's more about energy and vibe, even more so today.
Now, I'm not 100% a Jeezy fan.
Yeah.
But when he hits, he hits. When he don't, he don't. But I guess one thing I would disagree with you on, as far as comparing him to DMX, I would actually compare, you may not like this, I might actually compare Jeezy more to Dipset without Cameron.
Okay.
Because when I first heard Jeezy, he was rapping almost Trick Daddy Scarface shit. He had this album called Come Shot With Me. I
I
actually
think I know
played
the
a song
song.
called GA that featured Pastor Troy. That's in the Pastor Troy Boosie out
Yeah,
battle that
yeah.
me and D Double did.
Yeah.
But when he started doing the Trap or Die type of style, and Dipset was big at that time, keep in mind, one group you didn't mention that was big down south was Dipset.
Okay.
Not just Cameron, but Cameron, Joel Santana, more because of the style, not because of what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know his flow. You know what? That's a good example. You know what? I would Joel Santana would be the type of dude that would make songs with 3-6 Mafia. Because to me, he's one of the rappers where up north, he was more about the flow than what he was saying. Because a
That's
lot of
true.
his rhymes end with the same word, but he had the ad libs.
Yeah,
He just
remember
did
he
it
was
on New York beats. But check this out.
yeah.
Jeezy did the same exact thing. Because
Remember he
Jeezy
was
wasn't
gonna work
always
with
rapping like that.
yeah, he was
That's
gonna
why
work with
Jeezy
women.
rapped this. Jeezy pretty much slowed down Joel Santana's flow.
Yeah.
And some say he made it better because when Jeezy first came out, he did a little punchline thing here and there, but I'm not a rapper, like Cameron always do. Because you
Yeah.
know Cameron be punching, but he claimed he's not a rapper. Jeezy
Yeah.
was doing the same thing, but it adapted down south more. I remember when he said when he first put out his music, he was putting out for free just for the like streets and the clubs and shit. And the clubs kept playing the shit. That influenced him more to take rap serious. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? But the clubs were feeling it.
I could see that. I mean,
So
Jeezy ain't. I mean, he ain't lyrical, but the thing about Jeezy is he's about energy. But he'll slick in. He'll put in some slick one-liners here and there, like oh shit.
he could be lyrical when he want to. Because Trap or
Yeah,
Die 2 to me was when you started seeing
that's right.
Jeezy on a lyrical point. He tried to do it on the inspiration, but to me, he kind of had a Prodigy swag on that album because you know Prodigy don't rhyme sometimes bar for
Yeah,
bar. It'll
yeah,
take him
that's
3
true.
lines to get to the
That's
next
true.
bar. So
Yep.
Jeezy was trying to play with that while he was doing the same type of stuff he was doing on the classic Thug Motivation 101. But yeah,
Yeah.
once he started doing Trap or Die 2, that's when you started hearing more of a lyrical Jeezy. And then a Recession, I've heard some people down here saying that's a conscious album. That's a
It
conscious
is.
trap album.
That's true. That is because he's talking about what's going on in the hood. I mean, it's a a hood storyline of what's going on right then. And
Yeah.
it's interesting. Trapper Die 2, that's the one with Kobe LeBron, right? 24, 20, 23.
I can't remember right now. I
Yeah.
have to bring up my hard drive. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I mean, I
My
think
bad.
I remember that. And he's like, it's on a he's like in blue or something. It's like his face is in blue or something on the cover or whatever. I kind of remember that.
I
That
think that was Trap or Die 1, if I'm not mistaken.
might be. It might be the other one, Trapper Die 2. He might be in glasses, if I'm not correct.
Yeah. Trap or Die 2
Okay,
he was in
yeah.
glasses.
All right, yeah, that was fire.
But
That
Trap or
was
Die
fire.
1 was the one that blew him up.
Yeah, that was fire. Yeah,
Made Diddy
so
want to wear Vote or Die.
yeah,
Then they
yeah,
bring Diddy again. You know.
yeah. That was My President is Black. Yeah. Yeah, but so back to some albums before we go on to the next topic.
Okay.
An artist that really is polarizing down south, I'm noticing, is Nas. Because just like you said, like we had it was written to be. But if you mention Illmatic down there, how do Southern hip hop fans take to Illmatic?
Nas is an acquired taste down south. You either really love him or you don't like the type of music he do.
I
People
see.
really can't deny that Illmatic is a classic.
Yeah.
It's a classic hip hop album with a New York sound.
Okay.
Like for you to make any type of song like Illmatic and be from down here, people are automatically going to call you trying to sound like New York.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was 94. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's mid 90s. That's true.
Yeah. So obviously 94 isn't going to sound like 2001 when people wanted him to make Illmatic again, and he puts out Stillmatic. Some people like that album more because the beats were more up tempo.
I see that.
The only reason why I don't put Stillmatic over Illmatic is because of one song. Even though he took it off, it don't matter. I bought the album that had the song on there. Braveheart Party is Nas's second worst song ever.
Oh yeah, that song's terrible. It
If
is.
that song was not on there, you could say that's his
That
best
song
album.
is.
And that's
that
the messed up
song-
thing. Like, it was written, and Stillmatic and Godson all had it, was an album that could compete with the first album, but it had that one song. It's like, why is that on there? To me,
Yeah.
that was Zone Out on Godson.
And of course, like Nas, like I guess if you're gonna say it's one criticism about him, it's the production until now, where he's in his 50s. I wonder how the hip hop fans down south, how do they view like the Hit Boy run with King's Disease 1, 2, 3? Did they warm up to those albums, or did they just look at it like they dope albums, but it's kind of past his prime to be putting out work like that?
There gotta be fans out here liking it, but as far as from what I've seen, it's more talking to down south people online, and that's where you gotta recognize. Okay, are you trolling or are you saying real shit?
Yeah, true. That's true, because I think definitely the production's there on Nas's latest albums more so than I'd say in his last previous 10 years before that. But yeah, I understand that, because Nas is more the hip hop heads GOAT more so than the universal GOAT, because Nas really didn't take you to the clubs like that.
He's still universal, just not for the fans that depend on the club. This is where I say you got Southern hip hop fan.
That's right.
And then you got Southern rap music fan, and then you have hip hop music fan. Down here, you have that.
Yeah, you get that difference.
And of course, you always have those people say, yo, just because I didn't like Nas and Jay-Z doesn't mean I can't be hip hop. No one said you couldn't be hip hop. Eminem is hip hop, but he still recognized his boundaries.
Yeah.
We all got boundaries. Even people up north got boundaries to where you can't sound like down south. One of the worst Southern performances I ever seen at an open mic or a performance or a showcase that I was in was from a up north rapper trying to sound like down south. It don't mix.
That had to be interesting.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why the biggest hip hop artists in America, forget hip hop fans in America, are the people that lean more towards the type of production that make females dance. It's not about the lyrics no more. People can say it's about the lyrics because we're rapping along to the lyrics, but let's keep it real. If Family Matters was on 3 whack-ass beats, we would not be talking about that song. If Not Like Us was not Mustard on a Beat Hole and some weird other shit that you probably didn't like on Untitled Unmastered, you wouldn't be talking about that song. You know it's about the beat.
The beat.
There's rappers that we're never going to talk about that's going to have bigger hits than some of the rappers we talk about today.
I'm going to say it this way. I would say around mid-2000s when, and this is when the South really blew up. I think the centerpiece of the song shifted to the beats and the hook from lyrical content and what you're saying in the record. You know what I mean? Okay. And I think, and we talked about it last podcast, 50 Cent was kind of the guy that kind of brought everybody to that realization, and that's why he sold off a gangster rap album, went diamond, 10 million copies.
And speaking of that, we need to look that up on RIAA.com. Because I've been to that website lately just to see a lot of statistics. It's not matching to what we're seeing in these posts.
This thing.
Yeah, check this. Matter of fact, I'm sorry for switching the topic, but you said we're going to keep this a while. And it's only 29 minutes, by the way.
Yeah.
Remember when 50 Cent told Fat Joe that fat nigga thought Lean Back was in the club? My shit sold 11 mil. His shit was a dub.
I don't think he quite reached 11 million.
But no, 11 mil.
Yeah.
You don't remember that lyric that was on Piggy Bank?
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically talking about how In the Club sold 11 million. But he was talking about the single. The single went diamond. The album actually sold over 10 million copies worldwide at that time. But you know, the RIAA really go by American sales. And this is why I really don't care about sales, because you have the RIAA sales and then you have sales overseas. Just because you're not going platinum here doesn't mean you're not going platinum somewhere else. So with that being said, and you might want to fact check me, go to RIAA.com, look up 50 Cent and search by album. Get Rich or Die Trying, I think, is still at 9 million.
It's saying the commercial. Where we at? Commercial performance.
See, I don't have my phone on me. See, this is when I have my phone, but I'm just talking my shit for you, man.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta go to commercial performance here.
So you are on RIAA.com and you're searching for that
album. The album is certified 6 platinum, 6 million by recording in the U.S. industry, but worldwide. Okay, hold on a minute.
It should have more than 6.
Yeah, hold on a minute.
Let me make sure you're on the right website. Now I gotta go on.
I'm just going Wikipedia.
Go to RIAA.com.
Okay.
That's the website where you can see all of the
Well, I'll say this. Here's the thing.
While you do that, I'll search right now.
This is what it says. So 12 million copies worldwide, but only certified 9 million copies in the United States.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So there it is. Yeah.
And the club is diamond. I'm on it right now. And the club is diamond.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I did see that recently.
And I'm waiting for the Get Rich or Die Trying the album to appear, able to show me the singles instead.
But nevertheless, I think 50 was the game changer.
Oh yeah, he was for sure. And I gotta stop you. It wasn't just 50 Cent and Lil Wayne. Because around that same time, because a lot of people said Wayne did it because of 50. No, they both just happened to do it at the same time. Yeah. Lil Wayne started doing Squad Up mixtapes.
That's right. Yeah, we gotta have. That's another show to say. We gotta do a whole show on the mixtape era.
Yeah,
because that whole mixtape era with 50 and Wayne and
Lil Brother,
that was game changers too. They were really game changers with that.
Yeah. But like Maurice said, what made 50 stand out was he was making mixtape songs of other people's beats and making better songs than them. Like I can give like examples right now, and I'm so sorry. I fuck with De La Soul so bad. But
I remember that. I remember
hilarious. Oh man.
What was the one? Got Me a Bottle. They did the Got Me a Bottle one. They did that. I think that was next or whatever, but that was hot. Yeah. But the De La Soul one, yeah, they crushed that. But Wayne was doing the same thing.
But no, Wayne wasn't remaking people's songs. He was just
freestyling. He was rapping over other people's beats, though.
But he wasn't making songs, though. He was just freestyling. Because keep in mind, at that time, Southern niggas don't have lyrics, even though you got Outkast.
Yeah.
Who showed and proved. We ain't got to talk about Outkast. That's a whole topic of his own. But that's why I got to stop you, because it wasn't just 50 Cent. Lil Wayne played a big factor as well.
Well, I think the mid 2000s, I think the game changers was 50, and then I always think it was 50 because that was like 2003, 04, and then off of that was Wayne and then Kanye. But Wayne was the one I think that took the South to a global status. Not to take anything away from Outkast, because obviously Andre 3000 and Love Below, was. I think that sold 10 million records. That won a whole ton of Grammys and all that.
You know what? People gonna hate me when I say this. It makes sense why Lil Wayne and Nas made that song together. Because the same way how I say the same way that I say Nas is acquired taste down south, Lil Wayne is an acquired taste up north too. Like, you could even talk about how lyrical Lil Wayne is, and up north niggas will say them bars are corny, or that dude is trash, or he's the reason why hip hop's messed up. Lil Wayne is a required taste on that level.
I see what you're saying. You got a point.
I've seen it up north. I've seen people in New York and Boston say Ludacris is trash, and I'm like, Ludacris doesn't want to just the club songs.
I'm gonna tell you what it is with Lil Wayne. they can't deny the bars and lyrically how he comes with it, because the bars are there. He's one of the greatest lyricists of all time, but it's the inconsistency. It's he get lazy sometimes, and then when he does is turn up, auto tune stuff or whatever. That's when Up North has is like, well, what's that? He raps so nice on this joint, and this joint, what's that? You know what I mean?
And I'm going to
So
tell you
it's
the
like they
reason
look at him
why.
as being inconsistent.
And I'm going to tell you the reason why. It's not that he's inconsistent, it's that he's versatile. You're expecting Lil Wayne to rap the same way he was on those early mixtapes from Squad Up to Dedication and everything in between.
Yeah.
But let's not forget, Lil Wayne came out with the Hot Boys. He would sound like Hot Boy Wayne up until 500 Degrees, where, he tried to rap on the same beat as Biggie and Pac, and the song just didn't work.
Yeah.
And then he was doing the mixtape shit before and after that. But as he got more into the mixtape, he started getting appreciated more for his lyricism through the mixtapes or songs that didn't make the album. Lil Wayne is one of the reasons why people will make better mixtapes and better albums, either because A, the label don't want those songs on the album, or B, you just a type of rapper that, you may get lazy when it comes to a mainstream project lyrically, but you're not thinking lyrically, you're thinking of making hits. He's from the Hot Boys. So he's going to try to make hits regardless. It's like tell Lil Wayne not to make a hit. It's like telling Nas to rap on DJ Premier beats the rest of your life. It's not going to happen.
That's true. And you know what? That's a good point. I think the purpose of what they're trying to convey to the public has a lot to do with that. And that's a good point, because I think like East Coast fans, even though they recognize Wayne as one of the best, and it's kind of off topic, but Eminem in a different way, you know what I mean, is one of the best. They are acquired taste rappers. You know what I mean? See, Nas, I guess you're gonna have to say he's kind of acquired taste to some regions, But up here, Nas is Nas. You know what I mean? Nas is like a god. You know what I mean?
50 is not an acquired taste. Everybody loved the type of songs he made. He just didn't have as long as a career as the other three names we mentioned.
Have the stamina.
And that's one advantage with them compared to someone like a 50. You love 50 moment.
Mm-hmm.
You're not thinking about 50 rapping right now because his rapping is TV shows.
That's true.
But 50 was more of the moment, that 2000 era. 50, I don't want to say he owned it, but he definitely owned a large piece of it.
Let me ask you this before I get on to. I want to say something about one more down south artist before we move on to the second topic. But if you were to go down south and they said, all right, pick your GOATs, your greatest of all time, your top 5 from East Coast rappers, who would they put at the top? Like, who would be their top 3? Would it be, DMX, 50, then maybe Jay-Z, or like where would they go if you were to poll everybody in the South and say who would be their top 3, you think, as East Coast artists?
My age most likely would give you the typical Biggie, Jay-Z, Tupac, Nas.
Okay.
Like, you won't get like a versatile answer from everyone when it comes to up north artists, because it feels like, okay, those are the rappers to go to, even though my list is totally different. No one down here is gonna say Mos Def is in a top 10. Sure. You said that I'm the first person you met from the South that's likes Mos Def. That's crazy to me.
That's why I'm like, I gotta talk to this guy. Yeah, but all right, what about younger? What about like under 30, 35, under that?
See, I can't answer that. We need someone under 35 that could truly say that. That's why I say Anthony's a good idea. Just keep in mind, that's someone his age. The names that we're mentioning, like Jeezy, he probably would put Jeezy over Jay-Z, more because of the type of music that he makes.
What about, all right, here's an interesting, because it's mentioned, it's interesting you mentioned that guy in the group, because he mentions this guy a lot.
But you know what? Before you answer that question, because I know I gave a typical answer, but of course, you did have artists that came out my age that do respect the And my mind went blank all of a sudden. My bad.
Yeah.
They'll definitely say that they like the Camerons, which he can be an acquired taste of some people down here too.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see Cam appealing to down south because he's got
Even
a
Big Daddy Kane or Rakim,
yeah.
because a lot of people have quoted Rakim, down south artist too.
What about Jada Kiss?
Oh yeah,
They
but
love down
see,
south?
I mean, yeah, he's loved down south, but no one thinks like, oh, he's a top 5 rapper. It's almost like Ti saying that he's the king of the South. Not
Yeah.
everyone thinks Ti is the greatest rapper to come out of the South, but he just claimed that. You know what I'm saying? So Jada always had that claim, like I'm top 5 dead or alive, and that's just off one LP. Even if he's not in your top 5, you just love what he brings.
See, the knock up here on Jada Kiss is he don't have a classic album. But I could see because I love Kiss the Game Goodbye. That's one of my favorite rap albums of all time. And up here, people think it's a dope hip hop album, but I could see down south because of the vibe of that album. They probably would respect that album more because of the beats and the production and just the feel off of that album.
You could say that to a certain extent, but
Yeah.
yeah, but like I said, it varies down here. Now, as far as like, okay, would if they were to compare them to like an 8 Baller MJG
Mm-hmm.
or a UGK, there's a lot of people down here that would put 8 Baller MJG and UGK over Nas and Jay-Z's music.
Yeah.
Probably not as a rapper, but for the music catalog.
Just feel.
Scarface too.
I'm an 8 Ball MJG fan too. Like I'm a low key, just as off topic. I'm a low key Memphis head. Like if I want to go to vibe to some hip hop, I'd love to go to Memphis for a weekend because I like Memphis trap. I like 8 Ball MJG. What was it? There was this guy. He was a smooth. I thought he was from the West Coast when I was younger. Named Mr. Mike. I used to like Taylor and all of them. I used to be into that stuff.
See, I'm more of a 3-6 Mafia fan because of the
3-6,
production.
yes. 3-6 grew on me, man.
And
Like
3-6 is probably the most influential group that we mentioned in this video because they're still being sampled more than ever, to where females are sampling them on purpose.
Oh yeah.
Like Glorilla just put out a new song that has a 3-6 Mafia hook.
You can hear it too in Glorilla, man. Like Glorilla has that vibe all about her. That kind of that Memphis type of style with the beat. Yeah, but yeah, I'm a Memphis guy, man.
Were you a Dipset fan though? Because you remember when Cameron rapped on the Bout It beat?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I was into the Dipset. I was more D Block and State Property because I used to grow up around Philly, so I was into Beanie Siegel and Freeway and them.
That makes sense why you think more 50 Cent than Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne was doing a good amount of work with Dipset. Yeah, that makes sense. Now I see why you would put 50 over Wayne in that case.
But see, I put it to you like this, man. When with Heat Makers, man, those beats that Dipset had, boy, let me tell you, man.
I wish I had an instrumental version of Diplomatic Immunity. I didn't even like some of the lyrics on that album, but the beats though.
Banger after banger, and it was our double album too, man. Like you weren't going wrong on that album, boy. Diplomatic Immunity is a low key classic. It's low key, man. It's a double album at that. Yeah, before we go on, I gotta get to your take on Future, right? Because this is my thing about Future. Like this is definitely an age thing, but up here. Future, Young Thug, that whole, style of rapper is known as mumble rap. Like that was definitely an older East Coast fan thing. But see, here's my thing about Future. This is my feeling about this. If I'm going to the club or I'm trying to turn up or get ready to party and feel right, Future's coming on. You know what I mean? Future is getting ready. Like, I understand. I mean, you got to think. Like, I think it was like when Future started out, like there was an NFL football team that brought him out to do their intro song. That's how hype this dude got you, you know? But I'm gonna put it to you like this, man. Like the East Coast, they do not respect Future like that unless you go to the clubs or the strip clubs. That's the only reason you would care about Future. But any other head that listen to hip hop is like, that's mumble rap. Get it out of here.
But listen to what you just said at the end. The only time they respect it is when they play in the clubs.
Yeah.
Down here, you don't have to go to the club no more. TikTok is your club.
That's true.
Future is the perfect music for that.
That's facts, man. That's facts. And where would you think? Because he's definitely an acquired taste up here. But down south, where does Future rank among the legends? Would you say he's a top 5 Southern rapper all time?
No.
Okay.
But a lot of people down here, not a lot of people, I'm fronting. Some people down here have told me if you could say ODB is in your top 10, because yes, I've heard some people back then say ODB was in a top 10.
Yeah.
Can't say none about Future.
That's true.
But Future has a much longer career than ODB, so I wouldn't even make that comparison in the first place.
Yeah.
Even though I just did. But I've heard that comparison before.
I think Future is way bigger and more influential.
But check this out though. As far as Future, no one looks for him for lyricism. They just like the vibe. And he brings that type of music. And keep in mind, he also was affiliated with Dungeon Family. I think they may have played a role to where a lot of people may have gave him a pass because he has that Dungeon Family influence in his style. Because not a lot of rappers of his style would make a Mask Off. Mask Off is, to me, is my favorite song.
Classic.
When I heard Mask Off, I was like, okay, I can't call him whack no more. So I had to go back and find shit.
All right, yeah, you proved it, man.
I really used to think Future was trash. When I heard Mask Off, I'm like, shit, I can't call him whack no more. But it's the beat, yeah. But it made me
I was one of those guys like turn that mumble rap off, but over the years, and you know, I've been to clubs, I've been to gentleman clubs before. That comes on, man. You get a different feeling when that song, when Future comes on, bro.
I don't even go to clubs no more unless it's like
me either.
But I will tell you this though. There was a song he put out this year called "Beat It."
Yeah,
that's on the second Future Metro Boomin album. To me, that's like one of his best songs from him. I fuck with that song, and it's like a sample heavy song too. It doesn't really have like the typical like bounce that you would always hear, even though it has it there. But I think it's more sample driven.
Well, for this era, Future's a legend, man. Future is literally like I would say right now, Future's top 5 because that Future and Metro Boomin, man, that's a big album, bro. That is like the song of the year. Like Future is a real deal, right? But this time in hip hop,
I feel you with that.
I think people overlook that. But anyway, let me get.
I ain't gonna lie to you. My hip hop side would say that nigga trash though, because after I heard like his 2 albums this year, I'm like, okay, let me listen to his albums again. It's still a lot of songs I don't like from him, but when he make them joints, they hit. Some of them joints hit. I can't front, so I really can't call him whack no more. Like, I'm not gonna say no names, but there's certain rappers that I could still call whack, even if I found like 1 or 2 songs I like from them.
Yeah. I think the Future,
Future passed that bar to me.
He talks about 3 things. He talks about, sex and women, drugs, and money, and what he got on. That's all he talks about. He don't talk about nothing else.
It ain't even about what you say; it's how you say it. Like I said,
right.
It's how.
And he makes every single album the same way, and he makes it work. And it's like because I actually like his new mixtape.
Oh, you like that?
Pluto one. I'm vibing to it. I listened to it when I was in the gym the other day, man. And the one thing that I'll say is I think we got to start looking at it from the standpoint of this dude is redundant trash to this man made a whole career. I don't know how many albums and mixtapes long, 25, 30 long, of talking about the same 3 things on every single album, on every other song. Like, and he made a big career. Like, he gets damn near, I don't know what, 100, almost close to 80, 90 million streams. Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? I don't know if I should give props to that or what.
Shout out to rappers like Currency and Devin the Dude, who probably rap about those same three things, but a lot better.
A lot smoother vibe too.
Way better music.
Yeah,
And they'll rap on the same type of beats as Future and better beats as well.
that's
That's
true.
why I'm a big Currency fan, just off of his beat selection. Like, you know, he ain't the best rapper, but you know
Yeah.
he gonna rap on any beat, like
I'm
Lil Wayne was doing
Currency.
during that mixtape period.
Currency is one of my underrated favorites that I listen to. I have a whole playlist. I got like 500 Currency songs on this Currency playlist that I go to because he really makes you feel like you down south too. That's the smooth type of vibe you got. But
Yeah.
let me get to the next topic. So we're gonna close this out because what I'm getting is down south and East Coast just got two different ears. It really is. It's two different ears, and I really want to get to the point of, is it to the point where you think some Southern hip hop fans would hate on East Coast now because out of spite almost because of the 90s and the South got something to say era where East Coast rap fans were kind of the guys like, you got to sound like this in order to win in hip hop. You know what I mean? So do you think today, because South and the trap is the dominant sound in hip hop, that they kind of hate on East Coast music? They kind of hate on lyrical hip hop, like, get that shit out of there. Just like you were saying, oh, that's 90s hip hop. Get that shit out. You know what I mean? Like, is there like an animosity towards that sound, would you say, down south?
I wouldn't call it an animosity because, one, it's not like it just came here. It's always been here.
Uh-huh.
Because keep in mind, the reason why it's always been here is because this is the karma of the hate that the South was getting in the 90s
Yeah.
from both sides.
Yeah.
The West Coast had the best lyrically gangster rappers. The East
Yeah.
Coast had the best lyrical rappers.
Mhm.
Down South did not give a fuck if you think they're better or you are not. They just want to make music that get motherfuckers to move and see if we can make some money. The thinking is different. So just off of that alone, you may take it as animosity because someone will say like, "Well, how much that album is selling?" He's just that type of person that judge music like that.
Mhm.
Just to me, I could say like, I don't give a fuck about sales. I care about the music. I don't even care if you went diamond. You know what I'm saying? Like, one of the reasons why I'm doing Nicki Minaj versus Missy Elliott, because I'm trying to show that no matter how much sales Nicki Minaj has, Missy Elliott's in the Hall of Fame for the
And
reason.
it's the better
Rock and Roll Hall
artist.
of Fame.
That's true.
So the skills don't mean nothing. That's the debate that me and the double going to get. But
But
going
let's
back
get
to what I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but let's get back to that sales point. I think
Yeah.
this goes back to our Juvie point in our first podcast that we did. Like, Juvie's just looking at it from, how are you going to say it was written that Illmatic is better when I sold 4 or 5 million off of this thing? You know what I mean? Because just that mindset of, hey, if I sold records and I made people move, my shit got to hit better than Nas's shit. You know what I mean? Is that how they think the thinking is down there?
Hey, you nailed it on the head. Because
Okay.
what if I play Illmatic in the cookout? Is people gonna move the same way they gonna move the 400 degrees?
Indeed.
That's how that one person is thinking.
And I think, and now I get it. It comes full circle. I understand what it is now, because it's like he's just looking to get 2 goals. He hit those goals, and then you put on Illmatic, and he looking at it like, how is this? You know what I mean? What I do? You know what I mean? But see, I think it's short-sighted still too, because the one thing that I'll say about East Coast fans that coming up is, up here we overall, I think we give more of a variety of hip hop a chance. Like the one thing I'll say about the 2000s is when the South, we kind of helped the South blow up in a way, because in the 2000s, like the one thing I'll say is Wayne got heavy play on the radio. Jeezy got heavy play on the radio. Ross, T.I. got heavy play.
Well, keep in mind, Jeezy and Ross got signed by Jay-Z.
That's what I wanted to point out. You know what I mean? Like East Coast was kind of the ones to kind of bring the South to the forefront and make it more of a universal sound. Like we gave it that chance, but I feel almost now it's like for example, down South, you're never going to hear them talk about like a Dave East or a Benny the Butcher or what have you, just because they can't move to it. Like I feel like up here,
I wouldn't necessarily agree with you on that.
Is that so?
I'm going to tell you the reason why when it comes to Benny the Butcher. I don't know about Dave East, but Benny the Butcher, you could put him in that Jay-Z category when it comes to those type of rappers down here, where he talks about that hustling shit. That stands out more than the music. Like Jay-Z fans down south, the hustling shit that Jay-Z talk about stands out more than the music. Hence why T.I. called himself the down south Jay-Z. And Jeezy got signed by Jay-Z. Rick Ross got signed by Jay-Z. Jay-Z was on the Scarface album when Scarface was working for Def Jam at that time.
That's true. That's true.
So yeah, damn, what was the name? Yeah, Benny the Butcher. So when it comes to Benny the Butcher, I may disagree with you on that. Okay. I can understand if you say Dave East, though. But here's one thing that you brought back up. You said, we help you blow in the 2000s. Down south can be like, but Master P was selling in the 90s.
5 million, 6 million. And that was
this is where it goes back to that Southern rap music fan, where it's like, okay, yeah, so what? You made us more worldwide. We was making money in the 90s.
Okay. I see what it is.
Worldwide or not, we was still making money in the 90s. Matter of fact, let me show you something real quick. Just let you know how down south I
am. I hear that. All right.
Yep, I still go to Walmart.
Snoop cereal. Oh, that's what's up, man. I hear the Walmart's the hangout spot down there too. Like ladies go in
that's a whole conversation. We can make that a whole topic, but let's save that for
that's when you go to book women. See, all right, I get it now. It's like down south, it basically is what I said. There's two different ears. It is, and there's certain triggers for a down south person's ear to really get that feel down there. But up here, it's more about if you're hot, but we'll give you a shot, you know what I mean? And give you the diversity of our opinion if like your shit is hot. You know what I mean? If you could get playing the clubs, you could be lyrical. However you do it is great. But you just got to make us get our attention up here. But down there, it's more of, you know, the hustling mentality, the hustling vibe. You know, can I make money off of this? Can I make people move? It's more simplistic, but if you knock those out, you know, you can get that ear of people down there.
There was a story that David Banner mentioned years ago. And keep in mind, David Banner made an album with Knife Wonder. There was times where he was selling his music and people didn't like his music, but they liked the way that he sold it. So people respected his hustle. I wouldn't be surprised if Soulja Boy was the same thing. Soulja Boy initially was leaking his music online on purpose as another artist. He wasn't the first one to do it, but I definitely saw it in the Napster days in North Carolina A&T. I've heard Soulja Boy every once in the blue moon, like it's early, like the I think after I left A&T, but when I lived in Boston, but was still part of my underground hip hop group that met in A&T at that time. That's probably why
Yeah,
I'm saying
true.
A&T. But yeah, I was hearing his name early every Blue Moon under a faker name and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
yeah, but those type of rappers are not. It's not thinking I'm making classic hip hop for you to respect. I'm just trying to make money. So I'm gonna get these bitches dancing, and if the bitches
It's
dancing, so they
simple,
don't give a
man.
fuck what you say.
It's more.
Excuse my
I
language because
get
I
it.
know YouTube. Mm.
I get it, man. I get it. And really, that's what it is. It's just a totally different vibe. So, really, in the end of the day, we really shouldn't be offended if people don't like Illmatic the way that somebody from New York would like Illmatic, or like Nas, or like, I'd say Common's from Chicago, but more lyrically based MCs, because it's like, all right, well, I understand the vibe down there now. I
And
understand.
the same why I have to accept as a person who lived down south most of his life, me living in Boston, hearing people saying Ludacris is trash, no matter how much I prove him that he can spit, no, he's still trash because he made that song.
And Ludacris Chris has never been trash, man. He's always been.
It's so
He's one of the most
crazy.
diverse
It'll be
artists
like
of all
it'll be
time.
underground hip hop fans, fans of like, and no disrespect because I fuck with all these groups, fans of like 7L and Esoteric,
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Demigods, those
Yeah,
type of fans who I fuck with their music as well. They'll say stuff like, "Yo, Ludacris is straight up trash. I don't give a fuck if he made a song with
Ludacris is
DJ
like the
Premier."
down south. Ludacris is really the down south Busta Rhymes. Really, when you chalk it up, the
And
Atlanta.
Redman,
Yeah, or
he's
rep.
he's
Yes.
Busta and Redman mixed.
Yep, that's exactly right. Exactly right, man. Yeah,
But keep in
well,
mind, Ludacris is from Illinois, so that kind of plays a factor as well too.
that is true. That is
And
true.
don't get it twisted. Don't act like hip hop fans down south don't exist because I was just at this Common Pete Rock show. It
Hmm.
was a packed house that night. And it was at the Fillmore at the
Yeah,
Music Factory. But of course, you know what I mean. You're always going to have the majority. Like I'll tell you one thing before we end this show. My own cousin told me I'm not a fan of hip hop. I just like ratchet shit. And everything on her playlist is like straight up what we consider mumble rap. Just you know what
yeah.
I mean? That auto tune type of singing. Like she don't even think Future is a top 10 rapper. She's more into like the underground version of Futures.
That's got to be interesting. I
Yeah, like
wouldn't know who that is.
remember when Snap Music was out and
Yeah.
D4L
Oh God,
and
I didn't like
Franchise
that.
Boys?
Yeah.
Imagine all of the least popular groups that still made that type of music.
Oh man. You gotta have some interesting car rides with her.
And I've had some classic car rides with others.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, now I see why. You know what I'm
Yeah, but
saying?
I mean, that's good, man. Like, see, I like having conversations like this because I think as hip hop fans, we got to understand each other and understand
Mhm.
what the vibe is all over. Because really, hip hop right now doesn't have a region. If you're great, you're great. If you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah.
I don't even think there's an East Coast, a West Coast, or down South no more. You know what I mean? I think that died out in the 2010s. The biggest artist in the game, whether you want to call him hip hop or pop, was from Canada. You know what I mean? Now, you could say Kendrick's a West Coast guy, Future's from Atlanta, J. Cole's from North Carolina. So I don't even think it matters, just as long as you make something that's gonna make the people, gravitate towards you. That's all that counts.
Of course.
Mhm.
Nice conversation with you once again, man. I wish Maurice was here, man.
Yeah, he
No,
probably
I
had another
passed
thing
out
he was doing.
last weekend, man,
But
because
I tell you
I
what, I'm gonna
messing with
warm
some.
you up because we're gonna try and get another album battle going. I'm thinking Kendrick Lamar and maybe Lil Wayne. We're gonna see.
Do that. So we can
Yeah,
prove this one person's point that I know in 750. Do that.
yeah. I'm
Do
thinking
that.
we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it, Ansem. But anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. Check out Ansem on BLG, aka Bootleg Gang. Check out his YouTube channel. You got the what Missy and Nikki coming up, right? That's the next
Yeah,
battle.
that's coming up.
That's what's up.
What up,
And,
G Double? DrRealTV.com. Shout out to DrRealTV.com. Also, shout out to Mickey Facts 750. Also, shout out to Angry Fan Movement. Caps, what's up? Shout out to everyone in Battle Rap. I don't even know. Short Bus. What up, Radar?
That's what's up.
I'll at you, Rudy.
That's what's up. And I'll be back probably later on this weekend on Hip Hop Roundtable Reviews. We will have this up probably in the next couple of days to close out our East Coast versus down South hip hop debate. So with that, y'all have a nice evening, and I'll catch up with y'all. Peace.
Peace.